All right, Bobby, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Y'all ready for this? I'm
not paying attention to your simple ass.
Can you show me that you don't have any like bags of chips lying around or anything that you're gonna like, like Twizzlers or anything?
Nah, I don't have nothing. I'm good.
No? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, I'm gonna do this, Bobby.
You got me
there. So nervous.
Oh, God. Don't be nervous about it. It's okay. Go ahead. You got it.
I know. All right, thanks.
Just relax.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri, that guy from If We Ran In...
I wouldn't even have done it if you didn't say it. I didn't even think about it until you said something.
That could have been... That. What if that one was going to be really good?
You know what? They're all going to be really good at the end of the day.
Oh, my bad. You're so lucky I've got other things on my mind right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, what the heck is going on with my body? Getting old.
Exactly. All right, go
All
ahead.
right.
I'll stop. I'll put my hands like this so you can see on that. Go ahead.
Okay, this is what you're gonna get. All right, thanks to your this is thanks to Bobby. Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. Thanks for our patrons over on patreon.com/make us better. You know, Nick, James, Joel. Don't use that. I'm
Come on, what are you doing over there? A little heart
All right.
into it, okay?
Exactly. Well, I was just trying to get it over with before you start like farting or something over there.
You don't have to worry about that. That's your
All right, here we go.
All right, let's do this.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri from If We Were at Nintendo. Before we start today's show, I wanted to thank all of our amazing patrons over on patreon.com/make us better, especially our executive producers, Joel Brooks, Nick from Next Level Games, and James Johnson. Dr. Doom! 9 O's.
If we ran Nintendo. If we ran Nintendo. If we ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 69 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest podcast host in all the land, Sean Capri. Were you doing something?
I was playing Toby in the background. I can't believe you went all the way through that.
I'm not even paying attention. You can't phase me, Sean. I'm unfazable.
Apparently
like you.
not.
I'm like you.
I'm impressed.
You're like
"Is he
all
not hearing me?"
stumbling and rambling, and I'm too good, man. I'm too good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm a little sore. I'm a bit of an old man this morning. I got a little crick in my neck here, but I'm good, man.
Me too.
I had a ton of sleep last night, so I'm ready to go. Let's talk about something.
Okay,
Nintendo today.
We'll talk about something. It's okay.
Let's talk about ice cream.
Yeah. Do we want to go down that route? Is that where we're going today?
You know what? It's my most. It's getting the most attention on Twitter.
Well,
these
you know,
days.
okay. So look, I'm before we start, I'm a little annoyed. Okay, first off, you,
Me too.
Mark Carabin, and Donnie all
You're
failed me. All failed me.
Sorry.
I go in there the Lone Ranger, man, and I'm taking on all these fools by myself. Where were you guys at? We could have formed a team and actually went in and like wrecked stuff. You guys.
Let me make it up to you.
You dropped the ball on me.
Let me make it up to you. I think on actual launch day is when it's actually going to happen. But this was a very awkward time for my time zone, anyways. 4 p.m. is just that's no good. It could have been.
Splatfests are usually all day, typically.
Yeah, and honestly, like that's what I was thinking. Like when I originally heard the Splatfest, I didn't even think about. Of course, there's going to be a time like all the other global test fires and stuff.
Yeah.
So like in my mind, there's like I would have found some time to do that, but it ended up landing on like right the time I need to be at my sister's birthday party.
It's okay, because I'm going to really be poignant with this point right now. Donnie Reese, I want you to relay this message, because I don't believe that Eric Green listens to If We Ran Nintendo. Mm-hmm. But I want you to tell him specifically, you can't talk trash if you didn't participate. Like, you can't come at me mocking us when you didn't even step on to the field. Like, that's nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
You know what? I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Don't play nothing.
I'll play it. I'll play it, at least for now. Maybe not all day. But it's like cheering for your favorite team.
No.
Cake, team ice cream, and
but here's the thing: you can't talk trash like you did something when you didn't do anything. I don't sit there.
Here's what I'll land in the middle. You don't talk smack to the players. You don't go to the other team. Well, maybe you do. Maybe. But I think that's kind of a jerk move.
I just think that because here's the thing: he was supposed to play, he didn't play, and he's running his jaws. You can't do that. You know what I mean? It'd be like you guys talking trash to ice cream if you didn't play.
Yeah, I got one match in. I'm allowed.
That's true. You're allowed.
One match in. I scored 2 points for Team Cake. You're welcome.
Dude, I'll tell you what.
I was really bad at it.
Oh, it was so good. So good.
I didn't pick my good weapon. Like I was just racing in there. I was just like trying to get in before the servers.
Yeah, well, you were
down.
a little jammed up because you were trying to get there. But man, I went in, got there early, was sitting there. As soon as servers went up, I went in. Dude, I was on fire. Like legit. I completed. I became Cake King, which means what happens is you accumulate points, and it raises your ranking, and that's kind of how they match you. But the other thing that they do, which is really good, they create like power points, which is based off your scores. It's like almost like an average of the scores you're accumulating, and then they rank you, and that's how you find out the match. Like that's how they place you in matches. It's really solid. It really is, because when I played teams that had a power ranking of like 1,700 and we were like 1,600, they played strong and it was hard to win. But when it was like evenly matched, it was anybody's game the whole time. So it was. I like how Nintendo pulled that together. It's really, really good. They started to do it at the end of last year, or the last year of Splatoon 1, like the last 6 months. They started this power ranking thing, and it got really good. It's really strong, man. It's a good way to match. It's a good matchmaking thing.
How is your connection? I saw a couple problems out there. People are having some trouble getting in.
It's strange. I don't know whether it was because Tony and I had 2 switches side by side, and we were drawing off the same. That I'm not sure, because here's the way it went. They did it in, I would say 2 rounds. Okay, so round 1 was 2 hours. You had 2 maps. And then round 2 was another 2 hours with 2 different maps. And round 1, I had 0 issues. She kept getting connection errors. And then round 2, it flip-flopped. So I just don't know whether or not it was because we had 2 switches drawn off the same. That I'm not 100% sure. But it wasn't that bad. It was like, you get a connection error here and there, and no big deal. You're right back into a match.
Are you worried?
A second. Huh?
Are you worried?
No, not at all.
For launch day?
No.
You're good?
I'm fine. Listen, you're going to get connection errors occasionally. Because it may not just be you. It might be your... a connection error doesn't mean Nintendo is at fault. It could be your connection to the internet. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what essentially is causing it. I'm not worried about it. Here's the thing that I will say. When the matches started, it wasn't like previous years where people were falling out of the matches. That was the connection error that's an issue. When people are falling out of matches and you're kind of going it alone and you're getting crushed, that never happened to me. Happened to Tony one time. But in Splatoon 1, all the time that happened. So this was nice. This was good to get in there and play. I'm really excited for this game. I'll be honest with you. Like, this wasn't a test fire where you're playing 1 hour, but this was 4 hours. Competitive play, everybody's involved. Your matches mean something. It's just not testing out it was on time. And the maps, man, I'm so hyped. So hyped for these maps.
That's awesome.
Dude, so the first one was there's the concert arena, the concert venue, and the art gallery.
I didn't see that one.
They were both.
I just saw the last one.
They were both phenomenal. The art gallery, beautiful, so much fun. Like, it's. This is where I got hyped up. So the start of the match, we're doing the concert, and I'm telling Tony, I hate this map. I hate this map. Gonna get killed.
You just hate the look of it?
No, I just hate the flow of the flow of the map.
Oh, after a few matches,
because I can't see. I have this strategy where I take off, I go a different direction than the team, and I kind of want to say I do like figure eights throughout the map. So I shoot the ground, swim, shoot the ground, swim, shoot the ground, swim. Might find a little corner area, cubby area, hit some areas, get up, go. I'm constantly moving. I'm trying to be a moving target, hard to hit, keep going, just racking up points. Couldn't figure out my flow on that map, and that was the issue. But by the time the 2 hours was up, had it down, and it became one of my favorite maps because I'm like, yes, bring it back, I got it down now. So that was always the way it was Splatoon 1. It wasn't until it was almost like, and I'm going to use this, it's the dumbest analogy ever, but it kind of fits. It's like The Matrix. It's like when you watch the movie Matrix and he's trying to do something and it's just not working, and then all of a sudden he just sees the numbers trickling down. And it's like, boom, he's got it. And that's kind of how it feels like when you finally, when you finally hit it, it's like you got it. You can't, dude. I was on fire, and it was funny because I posted something, and Patrick from Nintendo Talk, he was like, "Oh, you only got 2 kills." And I'm like, "Dude, it ain't about the kills, bro. It's about the points. Look at the points."
You're just waiting for people to say that to you, right?
But it's the truth because I had people I was playing that I scored higher points, and they were lower, and they had more kills. Kills mean nothing. Only thing kills do is it makes a big splat, and that gives you some coverage. Nothing. Oh, dude, I'm so cannot wait to get like a group of 4 and go in and play this game. So then the second half of the thing, they have it's like a skate park. More or less.
That was the one I jumped into, and I thought that was awesome.
So amazing, so cool. You're lucky you got that one because the other map was Moray Tower. They brought Moray Tower back from the first one. But I gotta tip my cap, man. Tony was crushing it last night. Like,
nice,
dude. By the time when she started, she was struggling a little bit. But the nice thing about this was, and that's what I said to her, everybody's kind of the same playing field right now. Everybody's got all these new people. I mean, don't get me wrong, you got some good people out there. But as she's playing, it's the same. It's all kind of like there's a lot of new people coming in. There's a lot of people that haven't played in a while. They're starting to get their bearings back. For her to put up 2,000 points with a roller, I was impressed. Because rollers aren't the easiest thing to rack up points with. Because you got to roll, stop, get your paint ink back up, and then go. Where me, I can shoot, swim. Where I keep a steady pack of ink.
See. Yeah.
She's got to roll.
Distance.
Yeah, she's got to roll as far as she can roll, runs out, stops, sinks in, re-inks up, and then takes off again. That's a very difficult thing to do. I told her last night, I'm like, if you keep playing and you can learn to play with a gun, you're going to be beast mode. There ain't no doubt in my mind. So she was, and it's funny because she hasn't played the Switch since the one night of Mario Kart we played, and she's like hooked. She's like, Fallout what? She don't even care no more. She's like, yeah, she's all into this Splatoon.
Why do you think this is hooking people more than ARMS? Like, what's going on with ARMS? It's kind of got people. They're not diving into it. Like, it was supposed to be the Splatoon.
Because you know what ARMS is? It's the same game over and over and over and over.
But that's what I was saying about Splatoon when it came out.
But it's not because Splatoon is kind of like golf. If you can utilize, that's the thing that I always try to stress to people. Like Mark Carabin came from Shooter World when he first started playing. And one day me and him were talking. I was like, Mark, you're looking at this completely wrong. You're not fighting the people. You're fighting the map. You're trying to put the most ink on the ground that you possibly can. Just so happens there's other people trying to do the exact same thing against you. Don't worry about them. I can get killed 10 times in the map, still put up the most points. My team can still win because I'm focused on the map and the ground. It's like golf. You're not playing the other guys on the golf course. You're playing the course, you know? And once you get that realization, it totally flips. So the maps mean more and the different arenas mean more than ARMS. ARMS is just aesthetics. It's not involved in the gist of things, you know what I mean? So it's like once you've played for a few hours, it's the same thing. You're competing against people, and it's like I feel like ARMS can get more frustrating than Splatoon. Because if you're up against really solid people, good luck. It's impossible.
Well, I feel like that's the same for both, but that's a good point. That's why I like the staircase level, like the in arms that where it's just a slant, and so like depending on if you're on the top or the bottom, like some of the maps are, I don't know, I feel like I guess you're still fighting the opponent rather than the map, is your point. Like it's not a knock on the variety or the level design in arms. It's just that it has nothing to do with the win.
So the thing with Splatoon is, if I'm going so the map you can go in typically 3 different directions: left, right, middle. Usually, smaller maps is a little tighter and harder, but on a bigger map, most times you can go left, right, center. Right. Mm-hmm. So if I go to the left and I'm getting smoked on the left, and then I go back to the left and I get hit again, I go to the right. Stay away from all them people. Because you know what? If they're all over the left, the whole right side of the map's wide open. And you can just go over there and paint and do what you got to do. I think why Splatoon gets so much more love is because it's any level player can play. You know what I mean? Like, you could go up against guys that are just headhunters from Call of Duty, and you can still have fun. And you can still... The other thing, too, is when you respawn, they give you a buffer. So it's not like they're right on top of you when you take off.
Man, that is so huge. And that's a good point, because that's how I feel about a lot of multiplayer games. Even in the reviews that I've done in the past where there's a multiplayer component, I give extra props if that's part of like the build. If you can feel like you're contributing, even if you're not getting headshots, or even if you're not getting like your KDR isn't top points. Yeah. So yeah, man. So I wonder if like they're gonna build anything like that into ARMS. I wonder if there's another dimension to ARMS that can still be added on, because I think that this is a great new IP, but I just want a little more. Like I do want it to stick a little bit. It'd be sort of sad to see Nintendo have this. Like I'm trying to remember, maybe off the top of your head, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Can you think of like a Nintendo IP that is introduced that sort of just like flops immediately? Like what's something that comes to mind? I feel like generally they create series that are able to endure and get a sequel, and then, or at least like, if not even a sequel, like then a spin-off or something. Yeah.
I don't think ARMS is going to disappear. I said it to you before. I think part of what hurt ARMS was Splatoon right behind it. You know, you only have a month to play before you're getting the big game. I think
that was such a crucial time spot for it to fill, right? Like, because without it, like, what would we? I mean, you had your Zelda DLC, but I just feel like the two together give you this like, man, there's too much. But without it, it'd be like, it's just DLC. Like, there's such a... I just have so much respect for these companies, because that's such a fine line of fans, like, either jumping on board with you or completely abandoning you. Yeah. And I think it was probably the safer bet to put ARMS where it was, especially considering where, like, it literally filled the gap. Like, you're not even playing it anymore. You played it for as long as it was out for, or as long as you had until Zelda, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Which was only
like, it literally weeks. Filled that spot. Yeah, man. Like, I mean, you were to the letter of the plan, where it's like, if you're looking at where they want activity and the spikes that they're getting, ARMS is giving a spike, and then it falls. Now Splatoon, like, you're the Nintendo guru. I'm not surprised. But
I mean, I look at it and I go, it just didn't, I don't know, something about it didn't jive completely with me. Like, don't get me wrong, during the test punches, I should have not bought it based on this fact. When I played Splatoon during the test fires, the first Splatoon, not this recent one, I played the first one. I went in with no expectations. I was like, I really don't want this game. I'm just going to try it to try it. Played the first first hour, came away from it. I was like, okay, I see what you got here. I see what you did. I'm good. Got my fill. Not going to buy it. There was 4 hours between that and the next round. And about 2 hours in, all of a sudden, I was like,
man,
dude,
I want to play this
again.
Yeah.
I want to play it again. And Tony's like, well, go play it again. That's fine. And I was like, I am. And I went back and I played again. This time, Mark Carabin was playing, and we were both texting during. I was like, about halfway through the test fire, I was like, I'm getting this game. I'm hooked. The test punch, my experience with you was what kept drawing me back to it, not the game. And that's so. Yeah, I actually didn't play the final test punch. I was like, whatever. And then when the second one came up, I didn't even play it all. I had no desire to play it. And I should have looked at that as a sign. I was just like, I don't want to wear myself out on it. I'm not going to play it today.
Which is sort of a sign, which is kind of what I was thinking. I saw you're kind of going down that path. That is a bit of a sign. And maybe this is, Well, I don't want to get into it. I was going to suggest a topic here, but I don't know if we want to start
Well,
the show.
let's
like we
do this.
Every...
Yeah, let's kick the show off like we do each and every episode before we get into Sean's topic.
With the mother-loving geek outs. Geek outs. Yes, they're doing the geek outs.
Shout outs.
Geek outs. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited for geek outs.
Oh my god. All right, so
I'm glad actually that we don't do geek outs because I have a hard time saying I'm geeking out about. It's hard for me. So you can do that with Toby.
So I'm geeking oot a boot. Oot a boot. So real quick, I wanted to give a couple shout outs. I want to give a shout out to so we have a couple of Patreon members, right? And the two that I spoke to this week that I want to give a shout out to is James Johnson and Dallas Robbins. Both of them contacted me this week privately, and guys are just amazing. Nate Stein as well, but Nate contacted me, but he's not a Patreon member. But I want to talk about the Patreon members, but the three of them all separately contacted me. Dude, class acts, man. These guys are just amazing. Like, it is such a pleasure when someone reaches out to you and they are just into what you're doing. They're thankful for what you're doing. But not only that, they're just genuine, nice people. And these three, that reached out to me this week, I was just like, wow. And especially the reason why I say Dallas and I say James is because we didn't know who they were. It was just guys that were listening to us on the down low, never even knew who they were until the Patreon thing. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh wow, these guys are awesome. They are just really genuine guys. And like, I had a nice conversation with James the other day, like I would say a good portion of the day, like the latter half of the day before I left to go home from work. And then same thing with Dallas. Dallas sent me a really nice email, and it's just like, God, these guys are just genuine and just so nice, man. So shout out to you guys. You guys are just top of the line, man. I just love this community. I love these guys, man. It's awesome.
It's a reflection of you, by the way. All the amazing people that come and listen and hang out, man. It's because you're respectful, and I think that's on all the shows that we do. Everybody's respectful to each other, so it attracts respectful people. Yeah. Like, we're not throwing shade, and we're not like being unduly salty. I think we ham it up a little bit whenever there's any of that, but it's all about being we're genuine, and so like I'm glad about that actually works out, dude.
I do want to give. I want to give a shout to Patrick from Nintendo. Good dude, man. Really good guy. We're working on a collaboration video together. We are in the process of that. We should get the ball rolling this week. A lot of it's my fault. I'm just so overwhelmed with stuff.
You better do it before Splatoon comes out, man.
I know.
5 days.
Dude, he's such a good guy. Really nice guy. I like him a lot, man. I appreciate all the kind words he throws at me and all that stuff. Like, it's really, so thank you, Patrick. Go ahead. You got somebody?
I got a couple. I got two, actually. I got Lucas Lohr, who has been leaving me some very nice messages over the last little bit. And even after last week when I talked about quitting soccer and all that kind of stuff, he's like, look, dude, like, I've been there. I know exactly what you're going through. And it really does. It does mean a lot. I know, like, even after the episodes went out, and I'm like, I'm a little more far removed from what had happened. And I'm like, maybe this is coming off as a little, like, over dramatic. And so I appreciate that people don't react that way. Let's say, like, what's the big deal? Like, to have people go like, I get it. It sucks. Time will make it better. That means a lot to me. So thank you so much to Lucas. And I'm not going to get really deep into why the shout out is happening, but Antonio Guillen, I just want you to know that I'm with you, man. And I hope everything's okay, dude. I just wanted to do that little bit for you, Bobby. Antonio Guillen is the dude.
Real quick too, before we wrap up, I want to give a shout out to Josh Stapleton and
Raising
son.
a Gamer. Did we even talk about this last week? Yes.
Yeah. He started a video series with his son. Cool night.
That is the best.
Yes, it is. And but at the end of the day, like, dude, it's a good series. Go check it out. Go subscribe to the channel. It's Raising the Gamer. If I remember, I will try to put a link in the description below. But just look up Raising a Gamer on YouTube. Josh sits down with his son. He doesn't make him. He has him play. I was gonna say he makes him. He forces him. He sits down with him and he plays a game. One of the games like old school. Like this week they did Super Mario 64, and then he just basically questions his son what he thought about it and stuff. And just a really cool, man. It is a lot of fun. It's awesome.
I just want to say, like, now as a dad too, like, and having made really, I mean, as myself making videos as a kid, like with Windows Movie Maker, and they were just awful, but like I had so much fun just creating things. I can just imagine for Cool Night what this means to him now and what it will mean to him in the future, that he had this thing that he's creating with his dad. Like, it is just so, it's more than just playing old games. Like, we could do that. But this is like, you can just see the bonding between him and his son, and his son, Mr. Cool Night Stapleton. I think that's what his first name is. And I just love it, man. This is such a good take for Josh, for him to be able to create content, because I know he's been meaning to get to do that as well. And he gets this special time with his son and creates, and they're just going to learn so much together about the games and about each other. And I just can't wait to see Cool Night, progress as he starts learning to talk about games. Is actually, like, I remember when I was about his age and I tried, like, I was at IGN.com, and I just wanted to write reviews, right? Like, that all you do is like, oh yeah, I could definitely do that. And I sat down, and I can't even remember, it must have been like Half-Life or something like that back in like 1997, 1998. And I'd sit down at a keyboard, and I'm like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I didn't even know like what is important when you talk about games, and I'm so excited for Cool Night to experience that too, that transition of what do people care about, what matters to me, what do I want to start with when I talk about a certain game. And you can watch him, he's going to be learning the vocabulary that we all use regularly. This is a new skill set, and it just translates into other parts of your life. Like, learning to talk about games allows you to talk about so many other things. And I just think that is the coolest thing. I know that this isn't the goal when you start something like this with your son, but that is what's going to happen. And it is the coolest thing, man. I love it.
Amazing.
Yeah, big shout out to Raising a Gamer.
Everybody
should do that.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No problem.
Just everybody should do that. Whether or not you make it on YouTube or whatever, just have that thing with your kids. That's awesome.
Agreed. Final shout out before I lock it down. Evilos had me on his show, and it was a lot of fun this week. So shout out to him. He's a good guy, really really amazing. But he's doing something a little different. Like, he's kind of left the custom scene a little bit, but he's doing this new thing, thrift shop, where he goes, he does vlogs and stuff where he's going and looking for old video games and all that, and then shows you how to put them on eBay to flip them and stuff. And it's kind of cool. It's a good channel, man. A lot of fun.
Nice.
So before we got into this, you were saying something about a topic. What exactly?
Yeah, well, it actually comes out, and I don't typically like to do this, but I was intrigued by Nintendo Voice Chat this week. They were talking about Splatoon not having split screen, and then ARMS does have split screen. So I was kind of thinking about this as we were talking about it, why one maybe is catching on versus the other, or like with the different experiences that you have with Splatoon versus ARMS. If we ran Nintendo, would we add split screen couch co-op to Splatoon in order to make it the same type of couch experience that we've got with Mario Kart, with ARMS, and many other really great split screen couch co-op experiences? And the thing that came up in my mind, and this is why I wanted to talk to you about it, was when I was listening to this episode of Nintendo Voice Chat, and there was they were talking about Nintendo wanting to make sure that it's a 60 frames per second experience, and that's why they didn't do the split screen thing. And everybody at the table was pretty okay with that. And as an Xbox fan, and Halo 5 having just been a thing, Xbox did the exact same thing. They did not allow for co-op. So do they have split screen on multiplayer? Anyway, they don't do the co-op for the single player, and it was to maintain, the visual fidelity. And they were torn apart for it. So if we ran Nintendo, in your mind, like, is there an opportunity that's being missed here by not having split screen for Splatoon?
So in the first Splatoon, they did do something, right? Mm-hmm. But it was weird. It was basically like the gamepad had the one screen and the television had the other screen, and you played together and stuff. I never tried it. I never, it just didn't interest me. I wanted to do the other thing. So I feel like when you're playing multiplayer online, no, shouldn't be a split screen. I'm going to give a shout out to Greg Caldwell, because Greg said something this week that I totally agreed with. Not every game has to be a couch co-op game. Just because it's a Nintendo game, we don't have to force that narrative on people. Some games, you play them as they are. Should it be a situation where a LAN situation, where if you had a few friends, you could do a split screen that way? Maybe. I just don't know how it flows. I don't know how it works. And like when we all played Mario Kart as kids, we played battle mode and we all jumped in and we had 4-player and all that. It's cool. It's fine. I just don't. I'm not a fan. Look, Sean. At this point in my life, I'm not a fan of split screen. That's why I have 2 TVs up here. I have 2 switches, so Tony can play one and I can play one. That's how we played last night. She had her own TV. I had mine. I know that's not the perfect situation for everybody. But I just feel like where Nintendo gets beat up all the time is the integrity of their online is not up to snuff across the board. Doing the split screen, I feel, would put a lag, even if and I think it would take away ultimately. Again, if you could do something where it's just your friends and in a LAN situation, then fine. Knock yourself out. Not
LAN. So LAN would be like multiple consoles connected to each other. But you're just saying like cut one console, like split screen on that.
Yeah.
Like just local.
Yeah, like a local thing. But again, it's one of those situations of like okay, so let's say hypothetically, you and I are sitting here, right? And they give us a map. And we go, I'm on one side, you're on the other, and we go. Dude, we might never even see each other. You know what I mean? So what fun is that? You're running around. I don't feel like that's the true Splatoon story. I don't feel like that's the true Splatoon game, So I know that Nintendo recognized that in the first one. They did a thing where it was like shoot balloons. So you would run around and shoot the balloons out of the sky, and whatever person had the most balloon shot at the end of the round won. And then you could kill each other, because if you did run up against each other. But I feel like if it was a thing where you're just painting the ground and you're running, there's no. You're just going to paint. So literally, like if you look at that BMX or whatever, the track last night, the final map, that map is so big, literally, we could never, there's a possibility we would never see each other within a 3-minute match. I would be on one side painting, you'd be on the other side painting, never run into each other. That's not what Splatoon is. You know what I mean? It's the whole running away from each other, trying to shoot each other, to keep taking over the area. It's a combat situation. And I don't, and personally, I feel like what would happen then? If it's a split screen, does everybody in that match, because we have one team that's a split screen, everybody drops to 30 frames per second? I don't know that I think you're going to have people complaining about it. So, I mean, it's like...
Which is really awful. And I think, 30 frames per second is totally fine. As long as it doesn't, jump up and down, as long as you're not noticing the differences, then I think it's fine. I'm shocked to hear you say this. I'm on the complete opposite end of this. I think there's a massive missed opportunity that it's not split screen, especially when you invite friends over. You're like, man, I want you to see Splatoon. I know that we're old men. This doesn't happen very often for us, but I think back to the days of Mario Kart 64 and Star Fox 64, especially. They had 2 maps in Star Fox, and we played that all summer. We just flipped back and forth between that Independence Day rip-off thing that they had, and just split. And it was 12 frames per second. I guess we should expect more now, but I just think that when it's a game that is multiplayer and you want to invite people into it and you can't, I think just fundamentally that's a bit of a problem.
See, I think about when we were kids. The way we would have done it is we just would have taken turns. Okay, it's a 3-minute match. It's not like it takes forever. So
but on a single player game, you'd do that. Would you do that on a multiplayer? I'm trying to think of anything that would be close to that.
Absolutely, we would have. We would have been here, you take a turn, and then we play. And okay, I'm going to take a turn, and it would just, and maybe we would turn it into a mini game, and it would just be it would be if you score over 1,800 points, you get to play again, so it was a little drive to keep the controller in your hands. There's plenty of things that you can do. I just feel like doing that split screen, I just don't know that it would be strong enough. Because here's the thing, when you're playing, okay, so when it's a game where it's all single screens, it's going to run at 60 frames, which 60 to 30 there is a difference. The speed, the flow of the game is quicker. So if I'm playing and all of a sudden, like, on one map I'm playing 60, then the next I'm playing 30, and then I'm playing 60, that to me would become a little bit frustrating, I think, because I feel like your flow, that's the thing with Splatoon. And I'm just coming from perspective, I played a lot of Splatoon, the original one, and I'm ready to play a lot on this one. Mm-hmm. Splatoon is a flow game. If you get into a rut, the best thing to do is take a break. Take a 10-minute break and then come back and sit down, or leave the lobby you're in and come back again and retry again. If I was going back, like if I couldn't get into a flow because of the frame rate issue where one game just feels fast and then the next game feels slow, I'm not sure I'd be a fan of it. Now, maybe the answer is that you go, all right, I'm doing split screen, so that you put all the split screen people in one area. But again, that's the whole reason why they're doing Salmon Run on different days, is to keep the lobbies flowing. So it's like, I don't know. I just think that, like, on paper, it's one of those things that, like, on paper, in theory, it sounds amazing. But then I really feel like if they give it to us, people aren't going to be into it. And they're going to be upset about it. And they're going to be complaining about it. And I feel like this is such a huge game for Nintendo. They can't risk any missteps with this.
And that's the thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I guess that's what really I'm saying. The rule that trumps them all. Yeah. But it just seems to me that, like, the excitement that you got when you jumped on and there was like you saw all the GG people, all the Geek people, when everybody was all on the same team. Like, why does that have to be spread across the world? Like, why can't that be, like, within a living room of all of you people, like 4 or even just 2 people on the same team? They're, like, communicating back and forth. They've got a bit of an advantage. That's what I feel is missing. But nobody else seems to be calling them on, and I don't want to start, like, a fire where if there's nothing wrong with it. But I just thought that it was interesting. I heard that conversation. I wondered what your take on it might be.
My thing is, like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't have any issue with the way Splatoon plays. I don't have any, like, again, I don't feel like it almost would be like, well, let's make Zelda a split screen game just because.
Well, not really.
No. Yes, really. Like, what if you just said, like, hey, I want to allow a friend to play, and let's just go out. Let's take Zelda off the map. Let's throw Xenoblade Chronicles X. Xenoblade Chronicles X, there's a point where you can bring a player in and play 2-player multiplayer. So do you just say, like, hey, let's just make this a 2-player split screen game just for the fact because a couple people ask for it, you know? And I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing something else out there. And the reason why I say that is again, I go back to something I read, because this same question came up in Nintendo Voice Chat this week. Someone posed this question, and Greg Caldwell, his answer was why do we feel the need to force something on every single game just to make people happy?
And I want to be clear, because I agree with Greg's notion here, but I want to just be clear that I don't think less of Splatoon because it doesn't have that. Like, I would never go on a tirade and say, like, this is garbage. How could they keep this away from us? Like, that is so not what I'm saying. And I think that people should have done the exact same thing with Halo. The fact that it didn't is a miss, but, like, it's not the end of the world. It's not a reason not to buy the game. Or for maybe for some people it is. I'm not sure. But for me, that's not what I'm saying. But I guess the notion, like, where this is coming from is just because so many of us had so many great memories, and a lot of us have the affinity we have with Nintendo is because we were sitting on a couch with 3 of our best friends playing the exact same game, and it didn't matter what the performance was. So I guess maybe that's the thing. It's just I think this oversensitivity to 60 frames per second has just, like, actually removed really enjoyable game modes, and that's what I guess I'm not.
That's the problem right there. What you just said. There was a time where I could play a game, dude, the original Zelda would slow down to, like, 2 frames a second. Yeah. I never looked at that and was like, oh, this is horrible. I loved it. Mega Man, like, it slowed down crazy. So much so that when they made Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10 on the Wii, they intentionally put slowdown in it to give you the feel of what the old school slowdown was. Mm-hmm. They said, the Wii can handle this power of this, and we would never have slowdown. But it was such an integral part of the original game, we wanted to add it back in. They purposely added it back in. Nowadays, you do that, and it's like, what? It's not 1080, 60, and everybody complains about it. But what I do want to roll off of this a little bit, and kind of what I think they should have done is, for the multiplayer, for Turf Wars, Rank War, no split screen, don't do it. What they should have done, though, is the single-player campaign, they should have allowed you to add a second player to do kind of like a raid feel to it, where the two of you are sitting there and you're going in, you have your side and I have my side, and we go. Because, man, the single-player campaign in the original Splatoon was so good. And the boss battles were so amazing. And the fact that alone, now that section of the game, absolutely. Throw it in there all day long. I would love it if I had friends come over and such. But to answer your question, though, so when we got the original Splatoon, I got it. Tony wanted nothing to do with it. She watched me play it a couple times during the test fire, but she was doing other stuff in the house, and she didn't really sit down and watch. Then when I got the game, and she sat there one night and was watching me play, and she's like, yeah, here's my debit card. Can you go upstairs and buy it for me? Because I want to play. I want to be a part of this. And I went upstairs on her Wii and bought it, on her Wii U and bought it, and it was done. Yeah. I feel like just watching someone play is going to... I get what you're saying. It would have been nice if she could have just sat there and played it with me, on the thing.
Well,
but
the spouse situation, it does kind of that's the balance, right? Where you can actually start to see like additional consoles and additional pieces of software being sold because it's not multiplayer. You can't rely on your friend's copy. You got to have your own. So I guess if it's like one of the biggest franchises and people are already okay with this, that I can see all the reasons stacking up for not having the split screen.
Let me ask you a question. Does Overwatch offer that?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you and Chelsea play Overwatch a lot. Why don't you just play on the same TV?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's why you got a second TV. Right?
See, and that's why I try not to do like this. I can't believe Splatoon didn't do it because I don't like. Yeah. There will be a great example like that I'm not thinking of. I'm like, yeah, totally. I should now I should hate this game too. And people don't work like that.
That's the thing. Like my thing is this: is when the developers are making the game, and that's what I want to get away from. I want to get away from the world we live in, where we try to force something on someone who, at the end of the day, they are creating art. You can say what you want to say, but at the end of the day, for that person that's creating this game, it's art. It's a different, you know what I mean? It'd be like going into Van Gogh and going like, no. Don't paint it that way. Paint it this way. And you can't do that to an artist. You got to let them go. And they have a vision of what they're trying to accomplish with this game. And then midway through, if you just go, because I know how I am. If never fails. For a while, I used to draw a comic strip. For like 4 years. I used to draw every day and do this comic strip. And when someone would come into me and be like, it would really look good if you did it this way. Get it out of my face. You don't know what you're talking about. Because in your mind, you know the vision and you're just trying to get it out. And it's like, so it's a little difficult for someone to come in and say like, no, don't do it that way. Do it this way. It makes it tough. So gotcha. I can see where they're coming from on their side is they don't like they're using the excuse of like, oh, we don't want to slow down. They just don't want to do it. They just want to like make a game that's online, because that's the one thing. Like Nintendo doesn't have an online shooter. Call of Duty left. Overwatch isn't coming. Battlefront's not coming. So they need to do something. So this is their answer to all that. And then it's like, hey, but let's do this. And I don't think they want to do it. You know what I mean? I don't think ultimately it's in their best. I don't feel like it's in their best interest. Again, you can make aspects of the game like that. But I just don't feel like me, who's playing by myself in East Bumble, New Jersey, should have to have my performance slow down because Sean in East Bumble, Canada, is doing it a different way, and it's like
West Bumble.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's
I get it. I feel like that's played up maybe a little bit too much, and I'll give you one of the biggest arguments why you don't need split screen for Splatoon on the Switch is because in tabletop mode or in handheld mode, totally useless.
You're not using it. There ain't no way you're.
And people have already kind of commented on that with Mario Kart.
Yeah, how are you
where
playing?
It's like, what am I doing? So it's the thing. The display is exactly the same.
Yeah.
On the Switch as it on.
When I play, so okay, here's this is going back to the PS2 era.
Did you want to do Q&A too? By the way,
we will. But
okay. I just wanted to.
We got plenty. Okay. We got about 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
But real quick, so I remember, and I just want to tell you, like, or I want to give an example of like what kids will do, because people will just be like, "Oh, kids, no, save the kid BS." Because when I was in my 20s, I think I was like 25, 20, maybe a little older, maybe 28. I was playing NASCAR online, right? And it was the first online racing game at the time, and it was you and another person. That's all it was, playing online. They didn't do split screen or none of that, and they could have. It could have been me and my buddy against two other people, and they could have done that easily. They didn't do it. They did one-on-one, and that's the way it was. And how did the two kids I was racing against do it? One was in my ear, in the voice, in the headset, and the other one was racing. And the one in my ear, he was having a grand old time talking trash, telling me to shut up, telling me I stink, telling me I'm a loser. Even it was like, kids will find a way, and that's what I wanted to. That's what I was saying. Like, we would make a game. We'd make a mini game and be like, okay, we're all going to take turns, hit over the score, because then it's like, I want to try to get that score. So, okay, so this week I hit 700 subscribers on YouTube. With that, I did like a Q&A, and I had people submit questions. So there was a couple of questions that I didn't get to. So I thought it'd be kind of cool for Sean and I to go through them and answer them. The first one that I didn't get to was from Jesse Sacken, and he says, 2 related questions. Do you think Mario Odyssey gets DLC? What do you think it could be? Also, do you think we see a Zelda or Odyssey sequel during the Switch lifespan? So let's start with the first thing. DLC with Odyssey. Do you think... Now, if we go back to the Wii U, right, Nintendo put out 2 Mario games. One was New Super Mario U, and then the other one was 3D World. New Super Mario Bros. New Super Mario Bros. 3D World, New Super Mario whatever, U. God, these naming of these games are just atrocious. The side-scrolling one got DLC. The 3D one didn't get DLC. I personally think we will get DLC. But I think the DLC we'll get is maybe outfits, because they're playing up this whole outfit thing pretty much in this game. So I think we'll probably get some outfits. I just don't know how crazy they'll get with the levels. Who knows? They might add another world in or something later on. Maybe a pack of like 4 worlds. I just don't know what you add to a Mario game for DLC. What do you think?
I hope, part of me thinks, I'll probably eat my words when they eventually announce DLC, but I sort of hope that this is just a packaged game where you don't need anything more. Yeah. They don't sell you anything more, but it's going to be one of their biggest games of the year, and they're starting to realize that there's kind of real money to be made, and they figured out a really good way of doing DLC. And we see, I'm enjoying the DLC with Zelda. I think that they've done that really well, and obviously Mario Kart 8 was the new gold standard.
Yeah.
So there could be a way maybe that I'm not thinking of, but honestly, I don't really want it.
Yeah, me neither.
But unless it's something super clever, I could see them just swapping Mario out for Wario and just kind of doing that whole thing again, where it's because Wario is so weird, so different. I would actually rather that than the Super Luigi Brothers Wii U or new Luigi thing that they did, where it was a it was the flip. The reason that it was special was because it was challenging, the time limit and the difficulty was ramped up. I actually would just like a totally different game, new set of abilities, because Wario is just so strange. And what would happen if, I don't know, if Wario was just, if the whole place was stinky, the stink lines everywhere. I don't know. I think that's what I would want is a character swap that would actually change up the game totally differently, but still same maps, just a different character and power-ups.
Me personally, I would rather they don't do it.
I don't know how you do that with Cappy though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You're really grasping.
Yeah. I think it changes. I think you're forcing something, just like we said with Splatoon. You're forcing these guys to do something. I think if it's not a natural thing, it doesn't work. So for
also,
me,
here we are trying to come up with DLC before the game comes out, and it's that's the last. That's what upsets people the most is when DLC isn't out before the game comes out. So
before we answer the second part of his question, though, someone came in and replied to him. Jay Wiley versus, and he says Zelda Breath of the Wild still feels incomplete. It's a great game as it is, but I honestly feel they could have added more dungeons or something. So no, I don't think we'll get DLC of Breath of the Wild up until the end of the Switch's lifespan.
I mean, that's the thing. We haven't really like ran around in this open world, this new Mario open world.
Yeah.
And there could easily be things that they drop in, they populate in like the empty spaces that are there.
Yeah.
So I sort of expect it. I just don't know what it is. Maybe it is that just more challenges, more, I don't even know, more things to find.
For me, with the sequel question, I think it's so of the two, Mario seems to be the one that always goes sequels. You know what I mean? Like, so do we get an Odyssey 2? I don't think we'll get an Odyssey 2. I think the next step is Galaxy 3. But I think so. But let's do this. Let's break this down like this. Do we think we'll see another open world Zelda game on the Switch? Do we think we'll see another Odyssey or Mario game on the Switch? I personally think yes to both, because I feel like, we've discussed it numerous times, this is a 10, 20 year plan for Nintendo. This is not a 5 year out the door. This thing is selling like crazy. Nintendo is going to run this thing into the ground, and the advantage is it's having so much success in Japan. That's their homeland. That's where they want it to be successful. So it's having so much success in Japan because Japan is more mobile. If they are to just do iterations on the tablet itself, it's going to last 10, 20 years down the line. I mean, they have a 20-year deal with NVIDIA. So you don't do that unless there's something long-term planned. So for me, I think we definitely get, I don't want to say a sequel to Zelda. I think we're definitely going to get an open world Zelda again, though. I don't think it'll be a direct sequel to this one, though. I think this storyline played out. It's done. They'll move on to something different. Same thing with Odyssey, though. I don't know if we'll get an Odyssey 2. We might. I mean, we might. We got Galaxy 1 and then Galaxy 2, so it's possible. I
don't think I even want it. I think that like this is the Zelda game that we get on the system. This is the Odyssey game that we get, or this is a Mario game, and everything else can be spin-offs from there. Yeah. And I'll be totally happy.
I mean, you think we're going to get another Zelda, right? Another open world Zelda.
Not on Switch.
Really?
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I'm good with playing this game for the next 20 years, and they really could just DLC the crap out of this thing.
I don't think they're going to do that. I really don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to... I think that we might get, like, maybe another 2 DLC packs next year at max, but I think this team's ready to go on to the next storyline of this.
Man, it's so hard because this just moved the bar so high that even if the next game is as amazing, it's not going to be as impressive.
Well, of course,
you know what I mean. Like, and so that's what I'm kind of like nervous about.
But then again, man, you don't know. That's so hard to say because did anybody think they would be able to pull this off? And they shocked everybody with this.
The closest comparison I have is Majora's Mask. Everybody goes back and goes like, yeah, I love Majora's Mask. But at the time, everybody thought it was lame. They thought it was a rehash, and they thought it was the lesser of the Zelda for 64. So I just don't know. Like, I just think that there's a huge risk in, like, and there's sort of something nice about it having, like, the Mario game on 64 was Super Mario 64, and that was it. Like, that was, I mean, with the Wii, we got Galaxy 1 and 2, which was probably about as good as you're going to get when you do that, when you do the sequel model. Like, if they can do that again, I don't know, maybe just add Yoshi to Zelda. Well,
no, when you think about it, though, let's in all seriousness, right? So, on the Wii is this very similar formula. So, the Wii U, they announced this Zelda game, but they play it on both versions, just like the GameCube and the Wii. The Twilight Princess was on both, but at the end of the Wii cycle, we got Skyward Sword. So, do we see... I personally think we definitely see another 3D big Zelda game. I personally think it's going to happen. Because here's the thing, Sean. I don't see them not putting another Zelda game out for 10 years. That's...
I wouldn't mind Skyward Sword 2. I would like them to kind of get back at that because the world was really cool. The art style was gorgeous. One of the best stories in a Zelda game. The interaction between Link and Zelda, I think, was just heart-touching. Yeah. Heart-touching? Touched my heart. It was great, man. I'd like to see them do that again because there were aspects of that game I think are major problems, but they could be tackled with the power of the Switch.
Yeah, I agree.
Good one. Good discussion, Bobby. Good question, Jesse.
Jerry
what else?
Rife is... I know I said that so wrong, but I'm sorry. But he says, and we kind of dipped into this a little bit, but let's just tinker with this a little bit. He says, Bobby, do you think Nintendo should explore getting into the film industry with their IP? We all know that the one and the only Super Mario Brothers movie flopped. I kind of liked it.
Subjective.
When I was a kid, I liked it. I thought it was cool, but who knows? Anyway.
What's up, Dennis Hopper?
Yeah, exactly. But with the branching out of Universal Studios Park, do you think this would be a natural progression for them as an entertainment company? So there's already talks of this, right? I think movies are a waste.
I
personally
agree.
I think you go the Netflix thing, you do a television type style show. Because here's the thing, I'm so moved away from movies anymore. I love Flash. I love Arrow. I would prefer they just took Batman and put him in that situation where I get 22 hours a year of a television show where they can flesh out storylines and I can enjoy the storyline longer periods than a 2.5 hour, just cram everything in that, and then we don't see it for another 5-6 years. So I feel like that's the problem that Nintendo will face, is trying to take a 30-year-old franchise and just cram all that storyline. And don't get me wrong, their storylines aren't massive, you know what I mean? But to cram all that in to a 2.5 hour movie, it's just too much. I look at what Konami did with Castlevania on Netflix. That's a way I would lead. Like, there's talks that actually the producer of that Castlevania show wants to do Metroid. I'd let him go and be like, here you go, have fun, knock yourself out with it. You know what I mean? Like, they could do stuff like that, honestly, and I think that's, for me, that's the way to go.
I think it's inevitable. I don't want them to do it. I don't think that the movies sort of justify the franchise's existence, but I think about Pirates of the Caribbean and the theme park being an advertisement for the movie and the movie being an advertisement for the theme park and that sort of thing. I could see Nintendo taking on sort of like the Pixar role where somehow they make these, like especially Mario and Yoshi especially, making it appeal to kids and adults in like this fun sort of like singular story. It doesn't have to be like canon or anything. It's just, let's dive into this world for a fun 90-minute kind of jaunt around with Mario. I think that would be good, but I don't know, man. You just have to have like the expectations set appropriately. Like, it doesn't have to be like this big old thing. It could just be like this fun experience. And I think that's why people sort of go to TV, because it takes the expectations down a little bit. Yeah. It doesn't have to be the end all be all, and it can be iterative from episode to episode. So I think it's inevitable. I don't necessarily want to see it today, but if it's done right, let's try it out.
Exactly. Last one we're going to do before we wrap it up. Civilization asks, I haven't got a great question, but here goes nothing. With the release of the Switch, and now after E3, we can see that Nintendo is making one heck of a comeback. What single thing, one thing being the announcement of a game or a business decision, do you think will absolutely blow everyone away? Something that would make people say out loud, my body was not ready. My body was not Reggie. That's hard, man. That's a full-on thing. I mean, ultimately, I think if they would have come with a console as powerful as like a PS4 or an Xbox One or something like that, like a real hard-hitting powerhouse, I think everybody would have just like been floored by that and been like, oh my god. But Nintendo doesn't. Nintendo likes to be Nintendo and innovate in their minds and try different things. So I don't think that's ever going to really happen unless the tablet model catches up to that, which I don't think will ever really completely catch up.
I just think the form factor will always keep it from doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Man, that's tough. I think I'll be honest with you, I think the park was a big one. I think if they were to announce some type of partnership, see, that's not going to work. First, I was going to say, if they announce a partnership with Microsoft, and Microsoft just handles the hardware, and Nintendo handles, but people would freak out. People would be, I think it would be the opposite. People would be mad. Mainly be the Sony fanboys jumping off the top of buildings, so upset. You're not allowed to do that. That's not fair. That type of thing. Honestly, I think the announcement of a new president, but somebody that we're not expecting, somebody that's more forthcoming. That's hard. I mean, it's a hard question. It really is a hard question to be on the spot. But I think
for me, I think like it's sort of an announcement of things that people already are saying that they want. It's a full-on Netflix style for the entire catalog of a virtual console.
Yeah.
Like none of this, like there's a licensing problem. Like there's got to be some sort of way to get us those old games and allow people to download them to their system, because I think the way Xbox does it is better than the PS Now. Like have it on your system so you're not accessing some cloud processor or whatever. That would be a my body isn't ready.
You're right. If
they could sell it at a high price. I would buy it at a high price.
Here's something. If they were to say, we're not going Netflix style, we are going virtual console style, you buy your games, whatever, but all of your games that you bought on the Wii U and the 3DS and the Wii are now moving forward. You don't have to rebuy them. You got it. By the way, if the only thing you've ever bought off us in the past 10 years was an NES Classic, you get all those NES Classic games for free, good to go, move forward. You just type in your serial number, locked in, you have it, go, done. I think that would make people freak out too.
And there's, I mean, that's a huge ask, and I don't know if this is bigger or easier, but the same idea, but with your 3DS, transferring your 3DS library. Like, it would be so great to be able to play Ever Oasis on the Switch. Like, just being able, like, there's new games that are coming out right now that I'm like, yeah, but then I gotta go grab my 3D. Like, I know it sounds stupid to have to go, I gotta grab my other console that I've got laying around. Yeah. But it would be so great to be able to transfer those libraries over and just unify. Obviously, we talked about this for a long time, but that would be a mind-blowing, like, break the walls down Chris Jericho moment.
Yeah. If you were to say to people, like, everything that's available on the 3DS is available on this. It'd be pretty, because think about it, like there's a lot of games that are out right now. Okay, you have the second screen. A lot of them are just maps on that second screen. So if you just found a way there, you just hit the pause button and it brings up the bottom screen or something. You know what I mean? Like hit the minus button, it brings
switch back and forth.
Yeah, like, and then you don't have to worry about it. You know, it's just
there's games. That's an interesting solution to that, Bobby. I was thinking just display them both, but of course that takes up a lot of the real estate with all the stuff that you're not using. But yeah, just hit the minus button and it just goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, the share button. Yeah, you got that, but that
button too.
I mean, you can program that to do different things. I mean, but you can't change your button layouts for any of the games. So what am I talking about? You can't jump anything. Yeah. Well, you can swap it in Zelda. You know what I'm saying, though.
Before we're gonna wrap up here in a sec, but I got to tell you. So last night Tony's playing Splatoon, and she's like, "Oh, she scored 2,000 points." And she's freaking out. She's trying to grab her phone. I'm like, "Just hit the share button." And she's like, "Where's that?" And I told her. She clicks it, and she saves her screen. She's like, "Well, how do I upload it?" And I'm like, "Here, look." And it like blew her away.
Yeah, man.
She was just like, "That is so awesome, man." She's like, she logged her Twitter account to it, and it's like, bing, bing, done. Anyway, that is all.
As much as I love Xbox, it's awful on Xbox. I'm sorry, that is all.
It's awful on PlayStation too. Although you can hit the share
button.
Better. It's a little better. You can hit it and you can stream and all that. But whatever. That is all. Thank you guys for listening to us. iTunes. I almost said SoundCloud, but I'm not going to say SoundCloud, even though I just did say SoundCloud.
SoundCloud is going under, man.
It's in
trouble. Did you see that? They're in trouble.
They're in trouble. Well, dude, what do you want? If you're raping people for years, and then they're just like, "See ya, bye." Yep. It's nuts.
Going to Dayspace.
Dude, you don't offer a discount? I had 2 shows there, and they were charging me the same $15 per show. Not like, hey, you got a second show? Half price for the second. No, we're going to hit you up full charge all the way across the board. Whatever. Dayspace.com. Check us out over there. Check us out at WeTheNerdy.com. Amazing website that Andrew has over there. You guys got to go check that site out. So much geeky, nerdy stuff over there. It is a godsend, man. It is amazing. Google Play. We finally got that all sorted out. You can go check us out over there. YouTube.com/Nintendo Guru. Last thing, make us better. Patreon.com/make us better. Check us out over there if you can.
I'm Sean Capri. Sean like Connor Capri.
Nobody cares about your Twitter handle.
All right, sorry.
No, yeah,
ignore that.
Sean Connery. Yeah. Sean Capri. Sean like Connor Capri like the pants on Twitter. I am at Nintendo Gurus. Peace out, Cub Scout.
Goodbye. Bye. You ever seen Blow? That's from Blow. Johnny Depp movie.
The history of the royal family of Hyrule is also the history of the Calamity Ganon, a primal evil that has endured over the ages.
Tells me that you have no recollection of me, however.
I think you are now ready to hear what happened 100 years ago.
Everything I've done up until now, it was all for nothing.
Here it comes! You must save her, my daughter.
Open your eyes.